With Bad Bunny set to take the NFL halftime stage this weekend, the advertisement for his set was set to the tune of BAILE INoLVIDABLE and featured choreography too familiar to Latin American households across the United States. He has been a famous figure since 2016, but his most recent jump in popularity came after the release of his latest album, Debí tirar más fotos. This album was a love letter to the culture and idiosyncrasias of Puerto Rico, and his Super Bowl is expected to be heavily inspired by such album. Last week, El Conejo Malo also became the first artist to win Album of the Year with an entirely Spanish-language album. In his speeches, one for the Album of the Year award, and in 2 other speeches for 2 other awards he earned that night, he dedicated his music, his recognitions to the Latin American community, the immigrant community, and reaffirmed his political positions relating to issues affecting such communities, with comments like "Ice Out" and dedications of his work to people who have had to immigrate and leave their country in hope for a better future. This new style of music and branding of his is far removed though from how Bad Bunny started gaining popularity basically 10 years ago now. He started as a trap artist, as a reggaeton trap artist. It's far removed from his current work in salsa, bomba, plena. This trajectory though, I'm finding, isn't unique to just him. Other artists in comparable music spaces have also been shifting their branding visually and sonically, similar to how Bad Bunny has. In this essay, I'm going to be considering these other artists alongside Bad Bunny, and I'm going to talk about this trajectory from more popular music, more contemporary music, to a return to your roots. The question I'm asking here is the new direction of the music industry to go back to your roots? Is the commercial music industry embracing more familiar, more traditional, more old school music genres and traditions? Welcome to the Audiograph Sessions. I'm your host, Juliana Bahia, and this is Back to Your Roots, the new music industry direction. I also want to make an aside that in this video essay, I'm going to be talking a lot about going back to your roots. The title of this video is even going to be going back to your roots, right? When I say that, I'm not at all insinuating any type of authenticity or lack thereof in these artists' career trajectories. These artists' contemporary music that they were doing more recently before these rebrands were genres that were very culturally significant in their regions as well. For example, Luísa Sonza with Brazilian funk, Bad Bunny with reggaeton, Milo J doing trap and rap that has grown to become very significant in Argentina's contemporary music culture. So when I say back to your roots, it is not at all with an intention to diminish the cultural significance of the contemporary work they were doing before, but rather I'm referring to these artists returning to genres, traditions from their regions from an era where culture exchange, globalization, trend movement was not happening at the rate that it is now, where the traditions of music, where what was popular in an area was defined much more by the immediate local community than what is popular on TikTok or Instagram right now. Traditions from an era where you didn't have necessarily, obviously there were some, but you didn't necessarily have like artists, for example, from Argentina doing Cuban salsa because that culture exchange wasn't happening at the rate that it is now. Whereas now, in the more contemporary music space, you have artists that can excel in genres that they would not have been locally, regionally exposed to in another era. So when I say back to your roots, I'm referring to these artists returning to music genres that their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents would have been listening to, back to an old school music tradition. From the other side of Latin America than Bad Bunny, we have Milo J from Argentina, El Cono Sur. Milo J occupies a comparable sonic space as Bad Bunny, with viral songs like Milagrosa and Rara Vez. Rara Vez is how I started listening to Milo J. He gained popularity and mainstream recognition. Throughout his early career, Milo J was releasing music rooted in the trend, in the current style of mixing and exploring the combination of elements between trap, pop, and even Brazilian funk into these fresh, innovative sounding tracks. These tracks got into your brain, they rooted in there. Milo J has a beautiful voice too, so I remember hearing Rara Vez and being like, safe. They were impactful. They did what they had to do. And he became a prominent artist in this movement. If you're listening to this from other countries, from the United States in particular, and you weren't aware of Milo J at this time, that's on you. That's a skill issue. I'm telling you that he was becoming a very popular, prominent figure in Argentina. With some Reddit threads I found, even comparing him to the innovation and freshness that Rosalía represented when she was up and coming, with many feeling excitement towards him, like those who found Rosalía in her up and coming era had, he was doing the thing. His recent album, however, La Vida Era Más Corta, is a strong contrast to this sonic style, to this visual branding. It features an Argentine folkloric style of songwriting, and in his words, this songwriting was intentionally combined with urban music production. It includes regionally significant genres such as tango, chacarrera, folk, and remarkable collaborations with or sampling of Latin American legends like Mercedes Sosa, Guti y Roberto Carvajal, Soledad Pastoruti, and significant contemporary artists like Trueno and Akrila. Released on September 25th, 2025, Milo J's third album was not only a masterclass in songwriting and genre bending, in sonic and visual rebranding, and honoring Argentine traditions, it was also responsible for a huge increase in streams and listeners. The album reached up to 12 million streams on its release day, a 112% increase, and a 20% increase in listeners. A little over 4 months later, Milo J continues to boast over 16 million monthly listeners on the Spotify platform. Many were discovering Milo J's music for the first time, while others who had been indifferent to his music were giving him a chance for the first time. Similar to the impact that Bad Bunny's Debí Tirar Más Fotos had on his audience and impact in the industry. Rooted in folk and other significant regional traditions and addressing issues of grief, discrimination, marginalization, colonization, family, love, heartbreak, this album is unmistakably Argentine. Through this embrace of regional and old-school cultural traditions, Milo J has become a more widely known artist on the Latin American and international stage. Our second artist is Luísa Sonza. I started writing the script weeks ago, like before New Year's, and I had been narrowing down which artists to include as case studies when I find out, like very recently, the past week or so, that Luísa Sonza has released a whole album of bossa nova, just entirely dedicated to the bossa nova genre. 14 tracks with incredible music collaborators, legends. Right on time. Right on time for this video, our second artist that is following a back to your roots trajectory is none other than Brazilian artist Luísa Sonza, with her most recent album Bossa Nova Sempre, with incredible collaborators, legends of the bossa nova genre, Toquinho and Roberto Menescal. Prior to this project, Luísa Sonza was releasing funk music. Funk is a subgenre of hip-hop that was born in Rio de Janeiro in the late 1970s. It exploded to popularity to a more widely known stage in the 1990s, but it was born in the 1970s. It incorporated elements of Miami bass, samba, Afrobeat, and Afro-Brazilian traditional music. Last year, Sonza released a song alongside Dennis called MOTINHA 2.0 Mete, Marcha, a mature funk song about riding somebody like a motorcycle, hence the name. 2 weeks after the song's release, a music video is put out there with a choreographed dance by Flavio Verne, performed by Sonza alongside Amanda Araujo and Mariana Maciel. This dance went viral on social media, with many users posting their own interpretation of the dance, their own recreation of this dance on their pages everywhere, helping to popularize and explode the song into a viral sensation, not just in Brazil, but around the world. Her international impact outside of Brazil became further evident when a remix of MOTINHA 2.0 Mete Marcha by Argentine pop artist Emilia Mernes was released, and soon afterwards a song collaboration between Emilia Mernes and Luísa Sonza was released, called Bunda, a super fun funk track. This only further extended Sonza's popularity to Hispanic audiences. These songs were everywhere in Argentina, I can attest to it. On Sonza's Spotify page, a year after, or sometimes years after the release, her most popular tracks continue to be funk genre songs such as MOTINHA 2.0, Mete, Marcha, the one we've been talking about, Bunda, the other one we've been talking about, Sagrado Profano, and Atenção, as well as a collaboration with Marshmello. Given this context, the rebranding represented by her latest album, Bossa Nova Sempre, is striking. Just 1 year after the success of MOTINHA 2.0, Mete, Marcha, Sonza releases an entirely bossa nova album, 14 tracks of her covering and reinterpreting the genre's classics with legend collaborators Toquinho and Roberto Menescal. So is this a coincidence? Or is this further evidence that the new music industry direction might be to go back to one's roots, to tie yourself back to historically significant, culturally significant genres and music traditions of your region and bring them into the contemporary space with you? Is this a coincidence? Or is it further evidence of the new music industry direction of putting out music tied to your roots and paying tribute to such historically and culturally significant regional sonic traditions? For our final case study, we have our headliner, Bad Bunny. The most popular artist on this list, Bad Bunny has been famous for years, but his recent album, Debí tirar más fotos, has gained him widespread global appeal like no other. Following the release of his latest album, he became the most streamed artist in the world, the most listened to artist in the world, had a super successful tour/residency in Puerto Rico, was invited and announced as the headliner for the NFL halftime show, and as of last week, became the first Spanish language artist with a Spanish language album to win the Grammy Award for Album of the Year. His recent album reflects a clear shift in his branding and focus as an artist as well. For many, this particular project marks a rebrand from a primarily reggaeton trap sound and a very fun public persona, one centered on a young man enjoying fame, money, and relationships, to a decidedly Puerto Rican identity and focus with included genres such as bomba, plena, salsa, classic reggaeton, and more direct, serious discussions in his songs of political and social issues affecting his community and island. Through telling stories of homesickness, the immigrant diaspora experience, and the lasting and continued effects of colonization on his home island, Bad Bunny penned a letter to Puerto Rico, and the world responded positively, with open arms. Many listeners, including many people that I spoke to in my local Miami community, were opening their music streaming platforms to listen to a Bad Bunny album for the first time ever. Many parents who had previously dismissed Bad Bunny as music that they would never listen to of their own accord were opening Debí tirar más fotos, un baile inolvidable, to dance salsa, to listen to it at home, to add it to their weekend cleaning playlists. The song Un Baile Inolvidable in particular, alongside its music video set in a salsa class, has been credited with an increase in salsa class attendances. One article I found in particular highlighted a dance studio in Queens, New York, NUEVAYoL, fitting considering that the first track of the album is NUEVAYoL, called Salsa in Queens. They noticed a rise in students with Hispanic heritage coming to the studio, hoping to reconnect with some of their culture around the time that this album dropped. The studio's founder was also quoted as saying, and I quote, "I was very receptive to Bad Bunny's new album because it was a great canvas to open the salsa world to a group of people that probably were standing at an arm's length." In an interview with Billboard magazine, Bad Bunny further explained that he intended this album to bring generations of people together. He stated that his purpose when releasing this project, and I'm paraphrasing here, was not to compete commercially, but to capture the essence of his home island, and do so in a project that would unite generations, inspire love for the island, and, a project that could simply be enjoyed and loved and listened to. I I think he completed his purpose. So, in a time when the world is moving faster than ever, when trends are moving quicker than ever, when the world just appears to be moving so rapidly, the biggest figures in the music industry, particularly in the Latin music industry, appear to be turning towards a slower, less trend-driven, more old-school sense of regional music tradition. Rooted in regional cultures from eras where mainstream commercial music culture could simply not move that quickly. In a period where escapism has become a valid and common outlet for many, and for the music for such outlet to be prevalent, this movement represents a style that confronts difficult and vulnerable topics head-on through the intense nostalgia that these historically and culturally significant genres from their own regions have the power to evoke. These projects foster deeper connections with their already existing audiences, as well as invite new audiences to listen to their music for the first time. They also appeal to listeners that have grown fatigued to the commercialization of the music industry and the repeated formula that the music industry often adopts once a particular songwriting approach, sound, style is deemed successful. Once a particular songwriting approach, style, or sound is commercially successful for one artist, it feels like it crops up everywhere. Through this different approach of going back to your roots, we are being offered new, fresh, innovative music packaged in long-standing sonic traditions. These artists and projects prove that one's cultural background and identity remains a powerful source of creativity and connection. Who would have thought that going back to your roots could be the most trailblazing, innovative approach of all? Thank you so much for listening. This has been an episode of the Audiograph Sessions. And please let me know what you thought. Did I show you some new music? What did you think about these projects? What did you think about these artists? What did you think about my hypothesis? And yeah, come back next week. I have another episode already uploaded for next week. So please subscribe. Keep an eye out for my episodes. Follow me on Instagram at Audiograph Sessions. You can also follow my personal Instagram at BAILE. I will see you here next week. Bye!